let them in as they come. But a very warm welcome to everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for our Power in Aging guest speaker series. Just a couple of housekeeping rules I'd like to mention before we start, if that's okay, is that during the presentation, if we could keep ourselves muted unless, asked a question or asked to participate, that would be really helpful. And if for some reason you have to like move around or answer the door or anything, you're welcome to just maybe pop your camera off just so it's less distracting for everybody, and that would be great. You also have the choice to choose speaker or gallery view. So I highly recommend obviously speaker view so you can really see our presenter speaking and her screen when she shares it and everything like that. This is also going to be recorded just for our own use, but we filter it through our YouTube channel. Oh, someone's coming in to in order to have it accessible to our members section. So just to let you know. So if you're really worried about it, you can sit back or, pop your camera off or whatever. So this evening, we have a wonderful guest speaker, and I'm about to introduce her in just a minute. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Power in Aging, I just like to always start this evening off with a little intro into what we are all about and how we started. It came into concept about like 9 months ago now that there was a big hole in the coaching market for the area of aging. We all go for different reasons for coaching, but coming into midlife or middle age, there is a lot that we go through, a lot of transitioning, a lot of questioning things, a lot of letting go of things. There's a grief process as well. There's a lot that we go through, and having a community to go through it together, we felt this is a place that we need to build on. So we are big fans. Jenna, who is one of my partners, for those who don't know Jenna, and Helena, who unfortunately can't be here with her time commitments right now, but she's doing all the behind the scenes stuff with the emails and stuff. We all graduated together at Rhodes Wellness College to become life coaches, and we did a whole unit on workshops and group coaching, and we found it's a really good way, first of all, to allow everyone to sample some life coaching, but at an affordable rate. Because when you're doing one-on-one, obviously you're paying a higher price. But with group coaching, we make it really affordable for everybody to get in at a nice entry point. But it also gives you the point of view of a few coaches. It also allows you to see that there are like-minded people in the group. And like anything, we always learn from each other. So we do have our group coaching program, which is part of our monthly membership. We offer that for a mere $11.11. I hate the sales pitch. $11.11, the best number in the world, a month, or you can save by paying for the whole year, which is $111.11, which saves you for 2 months. That monthly membership entitles you to come to our group coaching session for members only. It's this Saturday, so for those of you who want to come, and I know a lot of you are already members, but for those who haven't renewed your membership or haven't signed up, it is available if you want to come. So that gets you your group coaching session. It also allows you into our private Facebook group. We will be offering some courses coming up, which will also, as a member, entitle you to the discounted rate. And if anybody's looking for some one-on-one coaching where you can really delve in and be more specific with what you are looking to work on, either with Jenna, myself, or Helena, by being a member, you are automatically given our 20% off Power and Aging rate. So that is another benefit to becoming a monthly member. So, and the other thing that we're doing right now, which we are offering for free for everybody, are these wonderful guest speaker events. And this is our way to sort of give back to the community by bringing in experts in their fields, something that we might not touch upon, but we want to make sure that that is available to all of you. So please share that information with your friends, invite people, anybody that might be interested in the topic of the month. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. I am super excited. So all the way from Vancouver, I've known Dee for, oh goodness me, Dee, do we reveal how long we've known each other? Quite a while, I think.
Yes, this is an aging group, so.
I know, but I don't know if I could do the math.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's quite a few decades.
At least 30. I was going to guess about 30 years.
Yeah, I think you're right
About
in the
30 years.
ballpark. I think so. You were living, and I was living in New York. You were living in Toronto with my sister. She was a roommate of my
Hmm.
sister's. So we go way back, and then you moved to the West Coast quite some time ago. Dee became a prominent West Coast blogger and a personal stylist, which is super cool. And I'm really excited because we haven't really touched upon this area in power and aging for everybody yet. We delve a lot into the internal side, and it's nice to take that sort of inner confidence and bring it outward, which is what Dee does best. She also is a personal shopper, which who wouldn't love that job? A hockey mom as well. And she helps people of all ages, shapes, and sizes to dress with style, ease, and joy. So it is a real treat to have her. So I'd love to welcome Dee. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. I feel like I need to forewarn you that I have a very barky dog, and I'm kind of my son is on standby, but doggy might hear something at the door and get upset. So I'm just forewarning you all. I'm very curious to know because when I get a new client, it's usually because they are starting a new chapter in their life. So there's some kind of milestone, whether it's a milestone birthday or maybe they're re-entering the dating world after divorce, or maybe they've reached a new position at work, or advancing their career, whatever. So I'm just curious to know if anybody has kind of experienced or is experiencing a milestone like that right now. And you could like maybe pop it in the chat or put your hand up. Yeah, Chris.
You know
What,
me.
what?
Yep.
Do you want to share? I mean, we kind of know, but
Well, I kind of know I turned 50 this year, and that was like the
yeah.
whole start of all of this. So, yeah, that's one big thing. I think the other thing is, and we're all going through it, is the transition of this new normal or living through the pandemic, and how we're all getting through that. Some people are working from home now. So, as far as styling goes, I admit that I'm lazy and I don't get up and do what I used to do to get to a out of house job.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I've just moved to a new town, a new place, and I am out in the public a bit now that things have opened up. And I teach dance here in town. And I've also started a new chapter in my life. I'm a recently widowed. So all of a sudden, retired, widowed, and here's my life. And it's like, well, who is Barb going to be for the next 25 or 30 years or 40 years? I don't know.
Right? Yes. Thanks, Barb. Anybody else? Somebody popped
Lori's
something
written in the chat as well. Want me to read it, Lori, or
Sure.
or do you want to just speak? It's up to you.
No, it just not really a milestone. It's just a culmination of a number of things. So yeah, in terms of the personal style, since working at home, that's pretty much gone. And yeah, so it's a bit of a kickstart to get back into the groove of getting yourself ready for work in the morning and going into an office. But
yeah, definitely a lot of people are, if they haven't had their own like personal milestone, as you were describing there, and Barb, a lot of people just like going back to work, right? So it's a milestone in that they're returning to the office, and they have to get out of sweatpants. They actually have to get dressed and look presentable, right? So I think a lot of people are in the same boat. Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen now with y'all. Hang on just a second here.
There's that bottom screen here. That green.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have anything inappropriate open.
Oh, come on. We love it.
Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Are you able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
we
great.
can. Thank
Okay.
you.
So this is the name of my company, The Joy of Style, and I'm all about refreshing your wardrobe. Perhaps you are reinventing yourself after, divorce or loss or new job or after motherhood, whatever it is, and then re-emerging as sort of it doesn't have to be a new version of yourself, but possibly like just a more confident, powerful, beautiful version of yourself. So I'm going to kind of do this in two parts. Part one is going to be sort of more practical stuff, dressing your best regardless of age, size, or shape. And then part two, which happens to be my favorite part, is the psychology of clothing and why what you wear matters. So the first thing we should probably talk about is the fact that a lot of people kind of get hung up on the current size they are and the current size of their clothing, or maybe the size that they need to buy. And it's important to acknowledge that all brands fit a little differently, and the size on the tag is just a letter and it's just a number, and doesn't mean anything about your worth, and that it's always better to wear what fits you well rather than what you fit into. You will always look more expensive, younger, and slimmer when you're wearing clothes that fit you properly. So don't get hung up on the letter, the number. So let's talk a little bit about this. When you look at this picture of this woman, what do you notice first? And feel free to like unmute yourself and shout out your answer. Anybody? What do you notice first?
Like how it's pulling with the lines, like it's quite tight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Fairly
Bulges.
shapeless.
Yeah, shapeless.
Shapeless. Yeah. You might also notice that her shoulders look quite broad compared to her hips and her legs. So this gal, I would say, has what would be considered like the ideal masculine shape, right? She's got broad shoulders and this really narrow lower body. And she's just emphasizing the disproportion between her upper and lower body with this tube top that she's wearing. So you really kind of notice her shoulders and her kind of ice cream cone shape, right? So she's emphasizing the disproportion. And this gal's kind of doing the opposite. So this girl actually has the most common female shape, where we are a little bit more narrow through the upper body and then a little bit wider through the hips. And she's kind of emphasizing the disproportion by wearing this outfit, wearing like sort of bolder color and pattern on her lower body. So in North America, at least, the hourglass shape is considered the ideal shape for women. I don't subscribe to this. I don't try to dress people this way. But if you look at magazines, and we have ads coming at us like all the time, that you'll notice that most women, most models look like hourglasses, where they're perfectly balanced between their upper and lower body, and they have this smaller waist. But in reality, most of us kind of look like something like this, right? Where we have different sizes and shapes and different proportions. So I think it's important then to figure out what it is that you like and don't like about your body. It's easy for women to get fixated on things that we don't like about our bodies. It's easy to get frustrated when going shopping and getting dressed. And so I think if you kind of figure out what your figure flattering priorities are, then you can dress in a more joyful and pleasurable way. So when you know your figure flattering priorities, you can enhance the shape that you do have. You maximize the parts of your body that you enjoy. You it's less noticeable, the parts of yourself that you don't enjoy as much. You're able to dress with intention and attention, and then you become a more confident shopper. So you know which trends you should, skip. You'll know when you go shopping. Like, you don't have to listen to the salesperson telling you that everything looks great on you. You'll be able to know confidently that this looks great on me or this does not look great on me. And it just becomes a lot easier because you can just, pull something up off the hanger and say, okay, this shape is going to work for me or not work for me. So let's kind of do this together. And you might want to jot this down on a piece of paper, or just like keep it in your head or write it on your phone or whatever. But I would love if we could, maybe people want to put this in the chat, or if they want to say it out loud, it's fine. So what is the favorite part of your body? And please, like, don't be shy here. Let's just like go for it. Anybody want to share?
My toes
Your toes?
are not gross. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Where my toes are. I like my curves. I like my large breasts and my hips.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing, Barb. Anybody else? Like, don't be shy.
My cat, like from my knee down, I like my legs. I don't like my upper legs, but I like knee down.
Okay. You have shapely calves.
Well, they just seem more proportioned than the upper half of my legs. They don't rub together like the upper half of my legs.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else want to share?
I like my shoulders and my upper arms because there's some definition, and my calves too. They have definition.
Nice. Okay, let's move on to the second one then. So which word best describes your body? Straight, curvy, athletic, soft, or a combination? Anybody want to share?
Curvy. I am curvy. I'm like a mountain range.
I love that, Barb.
Yeah, I'm just the opposite. I'm very straight. So I find sometimes that works for me. Sometimes it really doesn't.
Erin's written in the chat a combination.
Nice.
Oh, Anita's written curvy. Lori's written soft. I would say I'm a soft curvy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
You're definitely curvy, Jenna? Yeah.
A combination of a lot of them.
Okay.
Me
Fair
too. Depends on what part you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure how to get you all on gallery when I'm sharing my screen. Is that an option? I don't know how to do that. So Chris, you'll just let me know if there's someone else that I'm missing, right? Okay. Okay, number 3. So what do you have more trouble finding? Clothes that fit your upper body or clothes that fit your lower body? Who wants to share?
I would say lower body. It's Lori. I would say the lower body.
Mm-hmm.
I would say upper body for me, because things don't button well across my chest, or it pulls, or if there's a dart in it, then it really makes things look larger than they are.
Right.
Or
yeah,
if they're too
Definitely lower for me.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. I have a really long trunk and short legs. And so I always have a hard time finding a jacket that actually closes or zips at the right spot. Usually it's up kind of between my waist and my boobs. Like, it looks silly.
Yeah, that can be tricky. Yeah, for sure.
And
Paul-
blouses and shirts that go to our waist,
Mhm.
that's very hard to find. Even if they went a
Mhm.
little below our waist, but not past our bum. Like there's a nice little
Mhm.
spot somewhere that they should sit,
Mhm.
but those tops are hard to find.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
true.
Anita and Pauline both said lower.
Lower, okay.
in the chat, yeah. I would say I used to be lower, and then now that I had 2 babies in my 40s and kept that little mid tire, I'd say it's sort of the upper, well, anything that comes across the mid region. So the shoulder area is fine, but then if the shirt doesn't flare a little bit, it gets grabby.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. So this would make it easy for you to answer number 4 then, probably. If you could de-emphasize one part of your body, what would it be?
Spare tire.
Who said that?
Who said the spare tire? Jenna?
I think Jenna, yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, Aaron, I see that my gut too, and Pauline belly. Yeah, honestly, like I had a flat belly, I had a belly ring until I was like, I don't know, 6 months pregnant at 40, and then now it's like never. Oh my God, no, that's not going back in right now anyway.
I'd say most of my clients, that's the area that they're concerned about is tummy. So you're not alone, ladies. Okay, so let's move along here.
Okay.
Oh, does somebody want to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I would de-emphasize my kneecaps. I used to have beautiful, long, thin legs. So I don't, my knees just they're aging, if that could be so you wouldn't want to wear anything above your knee.
Right. Okay. Yep. No, that makes sense. Okay. So rather than, tell you what shape, like what piece of fruit you resemble most or what geometric shape you resemble most, I've sort of come up with this formula that kind of works for most people. And it's much more individualized and less cookie cutter-ish. So you don't have to follow all of the steps, just the ones that they're not even steps, they're kind of like, what's the word, pieces of the puzzle. So take the ones that work for you, and then you can just dismiss the other ones. But it's I have 5 prongs to it, and I call it the beans formula because I'm vegetarian, and that was the good acronym for me. Okay, so the beans formula works like this. You balance wherever there's disproportion. So if you happen to have a much broader, or if your shoulders are much broader than your hips, or your hips are much broader than your shoulders, then you want to try and create balance. If you find that your torso is very short or your legs are very short, then maybe you want to elongate. So that would be a good strategy for you. I think accentuating the parts of your body that you love is a good idea for everybody. I'm kind of a glass half full kind of gal myself. So I feel like whatever you focus your attention on, that becomes bigger, right? That becomes in the spotlight. So let's say, for instance, I love that I have a smaller chest, and I love that I have delicate collarbones. So I'm going to do everything I can to accentuate that so that you don't notice so much that I have this tummy that I'm not so happy about, right? So I'm just going to put all my energy into accentuating instead of, putting energy into like hating parts of my body. I'm going to celebrate the parts that I love. So that's accentuate. So narrow kind of goes hand in hand with elongate, because whatever you make longer, you also make look more narrow. So if you need to slim any part of your body, like say it was your midsection you wanted to make look more narrow, making your trunk look longer could be a good strategy for you. And then shape works for women that are curvier. If you tend to wear clothes that are too big for you because you think that you can hide out in your clothes and nobody will notice, you're actually doing yourself a disfavor. You should find clothes that like skim your body and add shape versus cover up your shape. And then also it works for gals like myself that are straighter and like more like boy shaped, I would say. So I try to add shape, like add curves. So I will like belt things so that it'll actually look like I have a waist, or wear something kind of flouncy so that it looks like I have more curves. So it can work for a lot of different shapes. Okay, so we'll go into some more detail here. Okay, so balance means that you're going to add width visually, either to your upper body or to your lower body, whatever the case may be. And using color is a good way to do that. So if you think in terms of like brighter colors, and white or bold patterns are going to draw the eye, right? Whereas darker colors tend to recede. So let's say, for instance, I think probably because most women are, like closer to a triangle shape, like more narrow on top and wider on the bottom. A lot of times we naturally do brighter colors, white on top and dark on the bottom, because it works, right? But if you had broader shoulders, like, so maybe you were very athletic and you were a swimmer, for instance, you might want to wear the brighter colors and patterns and that sort of thing on the bottom. Horizontal lines are a great way to visually add width, adding things like ruffles and that sort of thing, visually add volume. Pockets, like say pockets on the breasts, can add shape if that's where you need to add shape. And things like pleats and things like that to add volume. So here's some samples for you. So the gal on the left, you can see that her sweater, well, it's not like a true stripe. There's a stripe going on there with the pattern, right? So she's visually creating width, and then wearing the white cami underneath, it draws your eye towards her upper body, whereas she's wearing something dark on the bottom, so you're not really going to notice her lower body as much. The gal in the middle with the lapels on her jacket draw the eye outwards, right? And then also she's wearing white underneath, so in like a contrasting color. And then the gal on the right, she's wearing a cowl neck, which is going to add volume to her upper body. There's a bit of a stripe happening as well. And so she's doing a color on top of something dark too. So you're going to notice her upper body before her lower body. And then for gals that are the opposite, so the picture on the left is a sample of color blocking. So she's wearing white pants, so you're going to draw the eye towards her lower body. And then she's wearing darker on top. The gal in the middle, she's wearing, it's a bit of a pinstripe, but notice that she's got some pleats right at her hips. So that's going to make her hips look a little bit wider. And then she's got that little feature, like a little bow. Sorry, I'm forgetting the words right now. It's like a tie at her wrist that when she has her arms down, that's going to create a bit of width there as well. And then the skirt on the right is about the bold color, and it's about the pleats that will visually add some width. Okay, so the second prong is to elongate. So that's where we make parts of the body a little bit longer. So for most people, I would say it's probably trying to make their legs look longer rather than their torso. And when you create length, you also narrow and slim in that area. So here's some examples of how you can do that. So the gal on the left wants to make her legs look longer. So she's wearing a shoe that is pretty much her skin tone. So instead of wearing a dark shoe that would match her skirt, the nude to her color helps her legs to look longer. Like they just keep going, right? There's no break where the shoe would be. The gal in the middle is wearing sort of a column of color. It's a very monochromatic kind of look. So your eye doesn't really break so much for the different parts of her body. It's like one column of color, which I just happen to find that look very stylish on most people anyways. But it's a great strategy. And then the gal on the right, maybe she wanted to make her torso look a little bit longer. So she's using a vertical stripe. So the next one is accentuate. So putting focus on the part of your body that you like helps you to distract from the parts that you're less fond of. So color blocking is a way to do that. So the gal on the left there, let's say that she was self-conscious about her. So she had a large chest and a tummy that she was self-conscious about. So she's wearing a dark top. So you don't really notice that so much, just because the black color will recede. And then the white color blocking draws your eye towards her shoulder. And then she's wearing a V-neck as well. So you kind of, there's like this arrow that's like framing her face, which is like, the center of her communication too. So it all kind of points towards her face. You don't really notice her chest or her tummy at all. And then she's wearing a necklace as well. So again, it's just like drawing the eye towards her face. Jill Scott in the middle there is a very curvy lady. She has a large chest, but she's again wearing that one column of color. So she looks beautiful and curvy, but she's emphasizing her legs. Again, she's wearing a shoe that's almost like a nude to her. So her legs just kind of go on forever. And the gal on the right, let's say that she is self-conscious that she has a very small chest. So she's going to put the attention on her delicate collarbones. She really likes her jawline. So a big statement earring kind of there draws the eye towards the parts of her body that she likes. And then for narrowing, so visually narrowing any part of your body using a vertical or a diagonal line makes you look longer and slimmer. So these are some examples. So the gal on the left, you can see that there's a diagonal line in that dress. So it kind of, it breaks up the width of her hips and her legs. And then the vertical line does that as well. And then she's got more diagonal lines up in the bust area too. So it's just kind of like, what a great dress, right? Like it just looks so fresh and funky, and she's, just the way she's standing, you can tell she feels really confident in that dress, like proud of her curves. And the gal in the middle, I love this formula for so many body types, wearing the under layer being like the same colored top and bottom. So it doesn't have to be black necessarily, but then wearing a contrasting jacket over top helps to create this long, lean line down the middle that your eye is drawn to. So you end up looking taller and slimmer with that formula. And then color blocking on the right as well. You'd see how the brighter color advances and the darker color recedes. So she just looks like her waist is like 2 inches, right? And then the last one is shape. So emphasizing your shape versus trying to cover it up with something shapeless is going to work way better for you, or adding shape where you have none just is more visually appealing. So the gal on the left is wearing a wrap top, which is a beautiful way, especially if you have a larger bust, to just add some beautiful feminine curves in a really flattering way. The wrap dress in the middle is also a really beautiful way for curvy women to show off their curves, but also feel contained. And then the gal on the right doesn't have a lot of curves, so adding a belt sort of gives the illusion of curves. Now the gal on the left is kind of playing up her height and her slender arms and legs while concealing a tummy with a dress that it just looks like that's the style of the dress, right? There's this little bit flowy, but it's camouflaging a tummy. The dress in the middle looks like it's 2 parts, but it's one dress that just happens to have a little more volume on the top and then be a little more form-fitting on the bottom. So it works not because it's black, but because of the shape of it. So it's very slimming. And then the jacket on the right is a leather jacket, but certainly like any kind of tough fabrics like, like suede or denim can give that same kind of locked and loaded effect. And then you can see how the jacket is kind of more tapered at the waist too. So it just kind of holds everything in place. And then sort of some, like if none of those things work for you, this is a good place to start right here. So with a professional bra fitting, will make all of your clothes lie better and drape better. You almost always look younger and slimmer when your girls are up where they're supposed to be. So between your elbow and your shoulder, not down by your belly button, right? And not, east-west either. So professional bra fitting can do wonders. Also, if you suffer with like neck or back pain, having a well-fitting bra will help you with that. And it can even help you breathe better. And then we'll talk a little bit about horizontal lines and the V-neck. And I love talking about the fashion cocktail. So horizontal lines and the golden ratio kind of go hand in hand. So in art and in photography and in fashion, there's the golden ratio of 2 to 1. So you'll notice that in most like photography or art, the subject or the horizon is not usually put right in the middle, right? It's usually, if you're looking at a picture of like, say it's a boat on the water. So the horizon is almost always near the top or near the bottom. So it's 2/3 sky or 2/3 water. It's just more visually pleasing. Or if it's a painting of, a bowl of fruit or something like that, it's almost always a little bit off to the side. It's not right in the middle, just because it's more visually appealing. So the same thing is with fashion. When you cut your half, it's not quite as flattering as if you look 2/3 legs and 1/3 torso. You could certainly do 1/3 leg and 2/3 torso, but it's harder to pull off. Like I remember, back in the 80s, we wore some drop waist dresses, and looking back, I was like, yeah, maybe. I wouldn't do that anymore. It's a lot easier and more appealing to look 2/3 legs. So these are some ways to do it. So the one in the middle is pretty obvious, right? So her legs really aren't that long, but because of the look of the belt on the dress, she looks very leggy, right? Now the one on the left with this a high-waisted pant, which yes, definitely is going to make you look taller and more leggy with the high-waisted pant. But these pants are cropped, so it kind of what I'm forgetting my words. It discounts, right? So it has more of a stumpifying effect when you have a cropped pant. So to counter that, we're going to wear a cropped pant with a heel in a similar color as the pant. So that way, again, we look more leggy. Does that make sense? So it's like when you know how to break the rules, when you know the rules, you can break the rules, right? And let's see, the girl on the right there is, it's one of my favorite styling tricks is just to do that little 2-finger tuck in the front, or the French tuck. So it helps to control volume, the volume of the sweater, but it shows off her waistline. So you can tell that she's 2/3 legs and 1/3 upper body. So the V-neck is universally flattering. It's way easier to pull off a V-neck than, say, a crew neck, where sometimes you look like you've cut your head off. So it's easy to get a V in, a blouse or a t-shirt or a dress, but you could also create the illusion of a V or the effect of a V with your jewelry. Like, so the girl in the middle, if she's wearing a button down with kind of like a scoop neck or a boat neck top, but the V of her necklace, again, creates that sort of feminine shape. And then the one on the right, the far right there, she's again doing that formula that I love so much, when you wear a darker color top and bottom, and then a contrasting color on top. She's got the lapels that are creating the V, and then also her jewelry is creating a V. And then I love talking about the fashion cocktail, because I feel like most stylish people have that like little something extra going on. So that's what the cocktail is about. So can you put your hand up if you enjoy a cocktail every once in a while? So I know I'm not alone. Okay, great. Okay, so let's take, for instance, and I'm totally borrowing this from another stylist because I thought it was just brilliant. Okay, so let's say that our cocktail is a cranberry cocktail. So cranberry juice and vodka, right? So cranberry juice in itself, like just a glass of cranberry juice, so like it's a refreshing drink. It's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit tart, it's, you know, it's not offensive anyway, most people like it. But what happens when you put a little bit of vodka in with that cranberry? All of a sudden it becomes a little more interesting, right? And the thing is though, that what you know, the amount of vodka that Chris wants in her cocktail could vary greatly from what Barb likes or what Jenna likes, right? So, you know, like Barb might be like, no, keep going, right? And Chris is like, oh, just a splash, you know? So it's kind of like, how much vodka do you need in your outfit to make it kind of feel more interesting and more like you? So for example, in the photos that I have here, so the girl on the left wearing the leopard print skirt, I know some people, like, obviously I'm a fan of leopard print. I could wear it like, and probably do wear it most days of the week, but leopard doesn't work for everybody. Some people feel like, oh, it's too racy, or I don't want to feel like Peg Bundy or whatever, you know? And then other people like it's not a big deal. What's that? No, I thought somebody said something.
Oh,
so you can
muted. Sorry, someone just
okay.
in and I think they were unmuted.
Okay, so you can see that she's toning down the sort of raciness of the leopard print wearing with a t-shirt and jean jacket, right? So the gal in the middle, God, I love this outfit on her. She's got, you know, 3 different patterns. I love pattern mixing, but this is very bold. Personally, I would not do this look. It's too much vodka for me, but I can see that she looks so fierce and amazing in this outfit. Like if she walked into the room, I'd be like, oh my God, who is that woman? Right? Like so interesting and so bold, but it's not me. It's too much vodka for me. And then the outfit on the right, you know, it's head to toe black, which could be like a very boring outfit for a lot of people, but maybe for her, the little vodka is the fact that it's a leather legging. So it makes it a little more interesting, a little more edgy. That's a bit of like shine to it. And then, you know, she's wearing a black heel versus a black sneaker or a flat. So it just makes it like a little more interesting. So I think when you are putting an outfit together for yourself, instead of just adding, you know, just putting on any top or any pair of pants, just like ask yourself, like, does this have enough vodka? Like what would make it a little more interesting? And I'm going to give you some little, some tips about that later on. And I think that was the end of part 1. Does anybody have any questions at this point, or do we want to just like save the questions for the end?
You can unmute yourself, anybody, if you have a question at this point, or like Dee said, we can just wait.
Is that Jennifer Lopez on the right?
Yes, I think it is.
I thought so too. Okay.
Yeah. Although I get her mixed up with Jessica Alba. Is it who's married to JT? Yeah.
No, that's not Jessica Alba. That's Jessica Biel.
Okay.
JT.
She looks fabulous.
There's one of them that kind of looks like J-Lo in some photos. Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing, right? Okay, let's move on. And then if you have any questions, we can just bring them up at the end. Okay, so this part is way more interesting to me personally. I guess like why we wear what we wear fascinates me, and why, like, what makes people tick, and what do people wear clothes to stand out, or are they dressing to blend in and become invisible? Like, all those kinds of things are, I don't know, I find that way more interesting than what's coming down the runway. So style is a way to speak, or style is a way to say who you are without having to speak. What do your clothes say to others? So did you know that people make approximately 11 judgments about you in the first 7 seconds? Right? Like, it's frightening, right? And most of the judgments they're making are subconscious, though. Things like, can I trust this person? You know, and if you do gain their trust, then they're more likely to listen to what you're saying, right? But they're also, you know, probably making assumptions about your level of education, or maybe your marital status, or, you know, or what religion you are, that kind of thing. So most of it is subconscious. But armed with that knowledge, though, you can tweak your image so that your message says what you want it to say. So what are your, like, you don't have to answer this out loud unless you want to, but, you know, are your clothes saying, you know, I'm tired, I give up, I'm confused, everything is dirty, like, this is the only clean thing I had? Or are your clothes saying, like, I'm the boss, I'm confident, I'm powerful, I'm single, I'm looking, you know, whatever it is, right? Does anybody want to share what they think their clothes are saying?
Are you going to bed?
Nice.
Mine would be saying, you could try harder.
Yeah.
I really like when you have like one monochromatic color, but then wear beautiful chunky jewelry. I notice women that do that. I go, you're showcasing your necklace, which tells your personality, right? Or your big earrings.
Definitely.
It's just like you've clothed yourself nicely, but your jewelry is what is speaking your personality.
Yes, that's the sprinkles on your cupcake, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. Yeah, add personality. Yeah, for sure. So not only do our clothes speak to others, but our clothes actually speak to us as well. And sometimes it's not good, right? Sometimes we are judging ourselves. We feel like, well, nobody's going to see my underwear anyways, or nobody cares, or I'm not important, or whatever, I don't matter. So yeah, everything I'd say from, you know, from the state of your panties to the state of your winter coat says something about how you feel about yourself. And I want to remind you that you matter, and that your self-image is influencing all the other choices that you're making. So it's something to be aware of, and maybe something that we want to work on. So having a more positive self-image maybe will help you to make different choices for yourself. Okay, so good or bad, first impressions are sticky. So we can do all kinds of things to try to change people's minds, but once they've made up their mind in the first 11 seconds, it's really hard to change that. So knowing that you can tweak your outfit so that you have control of what other people see. And we're talking about the what fashion scientists have discovered, and then how you can use that to your advantage. So enclothed cognition is a term that was developed by, you know, fashion scientists, and it teaches us that there's certain items of clothing that we wear that will trigger an emotion in us and trigger a behavioral change. So let's say, for instance, that you know what it's like when you wear a blazer versus a cardigan, right? The blazer helps you to feel a little more powerful, right? And leather jacket might make you feel a little more like a badass, or with something else. I know, when I wear, there's a certain pair of heels that I have that I know I definitely when I wear them, right? So they've done actual studies on this where they took a group of people, they divided them in two, gave each group lab coats to wear. And they told the one group that they were doctors' lab coats. And then they told the other group that they were wearing artists, or painters' smocks. And then they gave them the same test. And the people that thought that they were wearing doctors' lab coats performed at a much better level than the people that thought that they were wearing artists' smocks. So sometimes it pays to dress how you want to feel, not necessarily how you currently feel, right? So if you get up in the morning and you're like, feeling kind of lazy, or I'm feeling like I just need to wear something cozy today. But if you need to bring your A game, whether it's for work or for your personal life, it's better to ask yourself, how do I want to feel? Not how do I currently feel? And then dressing how you want to feel will help you get there. That being said, if you wake up in the morning and you already feel like a badass, you should just keep going with it, right? So dress to maintain that feeling. So knowing who you are now and how you're feeling now, who your future self is. So who do you want to be? Who your audience is. So we have different audiences in all different sort of corners of our life, right? Knowing what message you're sending as you go along, whether it's, I'm tired, I give up, or, I'm here, I'm amazing, I'm going to get things done, whatever it is, helps you to have a more improved image as well as an improved self-image. So what do you want to say? It's about the silent messages. So list 3 things that you want others to know about you before you even say anything. And maybe you want to share something with the group about what you want other people to know about you. Anybody?
I think if you look like you put thought into your outfit, then people will go, you're thoughtful, or that you are, I don't know what the word is, you've got your shit together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're going to the market to pick something up, instead of just racing out of the house with whatever you've been doing in the house, it's no, I think I'm going to put on something that's structured, or a nice shoe that isn't broken, and I'm going to maybe brush my hair. There's little things that I find that if I just take a moment and do the scan and go, okay, what can I improve on quickly, then that makes me feel I have a better experience when I'm out.
Yes, you do. Yeah, that's awesome, Barb. Thank you.
Barb, I was going to add to that in that, so there was a time when I wouldn't have left the house without, makeup, mascara, hair done, and everything. And I've realized I've come to a point where I don't look in a mirror sometimes until I'm in the rearview mirror reversing my car. And I'm like, oh, good God, I can't, toothpaste here, I haven't combed my hair. And I'm like, oh my good Lord, what's going on here? So yeah, there's that fine line of actually caring, right? And it does, I think I feel when I do make the effort, a lot more confident would be the word. About how I feel about myself, and it sort of, you exude more of a confidence, right? I see as well in the chat, Lori just said what she wants people to, look at her and say would be, I'm smart, like to have style, or I'm professional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So driving my son to work in pajamas with a coat over top isn't a good look. That's what Lori said. I have to admit, I've never worn pajamas to walk my kids to school on the bottom. I've left the pajama top on top, but I had a coat over top so nobody would know.
That's the day you get invited into something or something, though.
Right?
Greg and I always laugh.
That's how it works.
when we go to Walmart, Greg and I always laugh to see who's still wearing their pajamas shopping around. It's just got that look, you know.
And I just
Okay.
find like,
Oh.
just because you
No,
have
no, go ahead.
a lot of casual clothes, like big sweatshirts or, comfy, there's a place for that, I think. Like I always want to be comfortable, but I have a lot of camo, so I choose not to wear my camo pants and camo sweatshirt out at the same time. So it's like,
Right.
yeah, you
I
got to
think
put
you're going to
some
battle or
thought into
something.
it. Anyways,
And I think it's sort of a combination too. So the other part of this is, how do you want to feel, right?
Right.
So if I might feel comfortable, but I also feel like a slob, or I might feel if I feel sloppy, but I need to feel empowered, I'm gonna dress to make myself feel better, right? Or if I'm feeling lonely, but I really want to feel flirty and sexy, then that's going to be a completely different outfit too, right? So how do you want to feel in your clothes?
I see a couple comments in the thing. Let's see. Sorry, it's just jumped. Melanie had said confident, cool, and charismatic, but hard to want to wear lots of things when you feel heavy and things are tight. And then Lori said, agreed. Hard to feel stylish and confident when I feel overweight and slow moving, or when things are pulling. Erin added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of, I guess that's the thing, how you feel on the inside. It's hard to exude it on the outside, right? If you're not feeling your best on the inside. So
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes, sometimes feeling good on or looking good on the outside helps you feel better on the inside too.
Right.
So they work together, right?
Very true. Yeah, absolutely.
So Dee, as we have power in aging, high heels to help make our legs look slender aren't really an option as for our balance and for the nice thin high heel that made all those models' legs look long and slender. Aren't I think we'd be walking around in air casts if we were trying that look. It's just very difficult. In our younger years, yes, we did wear even our winter boots where we had little spike heels, but I don't think that works for our bodies anymore. I don't know. Maybe
could you maybe do like a chunkier heel then? Could you do a pointed toe or an almond shaped toe?
Yeah. As long as it's not too high.
Or a wedge.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be too. Yeah, some people can do a wedge too. I don't find the wedges as sexy. I think like a chunky heel is a little more modern than a wedge. But yeah, there's definitely there's alternatives to wearing stilettos for sure.
Good.
Chunky heel makes me think of like a librarian. I've never loved that look.
Who said that?
Sorry, apparently my camera's not working. Chunky heel makes me feel, it seems an older look to me, or a dowdy look. What's the word?
Dowdy or frumpy? Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I think if you did like a pointier toe with a chunky shoe, you could do that. Also, it's like the rest, what does the rest of your outfit look like too, right? So I think if you wore something that was really modern on top, then you could get away with wearing a chunkier shoe.
I like how you say too with an elongated point, because even if you're wearing a flatter shoe, if your shoe comes to kind of a bit of a point or has that, you're still elongating it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also, I showed an example of this. If your shoe is closer to your skin tone too, then that's a leg lengthening strategy as well. That's why like people are wearing like nude shoes so much lately, because it has that effect.
Need to get some of them.
Yeah. But you know what, even like you can wear like a metallic shoe too, can work the same as a nude shoe. Like, so it doesn't have to be like a skin tone shoe necessarily. So I'll go through these kind of quickly. So when we're talking about the sort of the psychology of color, when you look at these two photos, which gal looks a little more friendly? Who looks friendlier? More approachable?
I'd say the
one on the right?
Yeah.
The color looks more friendly. The pink. And then between a crisp white button down and a jersey knit long sleeve t-shirt, which one is more formal?
More formal? The
Button down.
More formal. Yeah, so the one on the left, obviously, right? So the crisper the fabric, the more formal. Also, you know, so you do like a crisp cotton button down, or if you did even like something silky, comes across as more expensive and more formal than something like jersey knit. And I find when I go into my clients' closets, most of the time there's so much knitwear, so many t-shirts and leggings that it kind of boggles my mind, because people feel like, you know, if they like a t-shirt, they'll buy it in 8 different colors. And then they wonder why they feel frumpy and why they have nothing to wear when they have like this closet full of clothes, right? But it's kind of like, okay, let's address the knitwear now. So let's say that whenever you went to the grocery store, the only the only starch you ever bought was bread. So you could make, you know, you can make sandwiches, you can make open face sandwiches, you can make grilled cheese sandwiches, you can cut the crust off, you know, there's double deckers, all kinds of sandwiches you can make. But at the end of the day, you're still eating sandwiches, right? And let's say that, you know, a special friend was in town and they wanted to come over for dinner, and you're like, okay, I'll make them my best sandwich, right? It's like, no, it would be nice if maybe you made like a little, you know, something like fettuccine or something, or maybe you want to have something on rice or something a little bit fancier. So it's nice to have like different starches in your pantry, just the same as it's nice to have different fabrics in your closet that you can dress up or dress down. Like that? Well, food analogy there. Okay, so between these two, these photos, who looks more corporate? The blazer, right? Of course. So not that the cardigan is not necessarily work appropriate, but it doesn't have the same kind of impact on the person who sees the blazer or the person that's wearing the blazer.
But it looks cozy.
It looks cozy, yeah. But I don't know if I want my lawyer to feel cozy, right? My lawyer to sort of make me feel like they're in charge. Yeah, it's a work from home look, yes. Okay, so between these two skirts, which one is more flirty? Left, exactly. So movement, the movement of the one on the left is more flirty.
But can you wear that if you have, you know, a bigger lower bottom, like big butt and big thighs, and does it just make too much room, too big a space?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think pencil skirts are flattering on a lot of different body types, But I like the look of a flirty skirt. Depends on what you're wearing up top too, right? So you're not going to wear something like too voluminous on top, because then you'll just be like it's just like too much fabric. You wear something a little more form-fitting on the bottom. I think it could be a really, really beautiful, flattering look. It also helps to, it really narrows the waistline too. And streamlining your style makes getting dressed and going shopping much easier. And it says a confused customer is not a buying customer. So it doesn't matter like whether you're selling products or services or an idea, or you just want somebody's time. So people are more confused if you look confused. So if you have a lot of different looks going on, people are like, I can't trust this person, or I don't know if I can trust this person because, I'm distracted by their appearance. So I don't know really if I can rely on what they're saying. I don't know if they're credible. I don't know if they are a reliable source of information. So I find that like most of my clients fit into a couple of these different categories, and maybe like a third one on the weekend. So if you can kind of streamline your style, narrow it down to a couple of these things, it makes it a lot easier than trying to put something together that's like a little bit preppy but kind of sporty, and you got different shoes going on with different tops. And I see that happen a lot with people that don't really know what they like, and so they might say, oh, this thing is really trendy, so I should probably buy one of those. And they get it home and they don't have anything to go with it, right? Or they have maybe some hand-me-downs from their sister or a good friend who is very stylish, and they're like, oh, I think this would look good on you. And they're like, okay, yes, you are a stylish woman, so I'm gonna take those pieces. And then they can't make them work for their personality or for anything that already exists in their wardrobe. So trying to figure out, what your personality is and what style you gravitate towards is going to make your life much easier. And it's just going to be easier for you to get dressed and go shopping, and then sort of create a more cohesive look. So here's a little tip for you. If you are going shopping and you are considering a purchase, whether, it doesn't matter if it's a top or a bottom, like make sure that it goes with at least 3 other things that you already own, right? Because if it doesn't, it's just going to sit in your closet like an orphan and not have anything to go with it, right? So you're just going to keep building more and more of these closet orphans. So try to build a wardrobe that already goes with things that you own, so you won't have any purchases that are just a waste. And if you're not sure, what your style is, like Pinterest is such a great source of inspiration for everything really, but for fashion in particular. And you can just, just scroll for hours really and find things that you like and find things that you don't like. And then you'll notice some common threads, right? So like maybe like, oh, I just always like floral prints, and I really noticed that I like ruffly things and I like flowy things, and I really hate geometric shapes, and I really hate black, or I really hate when people wear sneakers, or whatever it is, so that you have a better sense of your style. And then or even like follow your favorite celebrities, and like maybe there's somebody in your neighborhood or at your church or at work that has a really great sense of style, and then you can be like, what is it about her? Is it that she always wears the monochromatic look with a great piece of jewelry, or maybe she just always mixes prints, or whatever it is. So like kind of studying other people's style can help you to advance your own. Some extra little things that you could do. This could potentially add some vodka to your outfit. So like instead of just wearing your blazer or your blouse with the sleeve rolled down, like try rolling it up and pushing it towards your elbows. It just kind of makes it a little more interesting, makes it a little more casual, a little bit cooler, and then it draws the eye towards your narrowest point too. Maybe you want to flip the collar on your jacket. It's kind of like a cool look. adding some interesting accessories, whether it's a necklace or statement chandelier earrings or a really interesting belt. Things like that, kind of like what Barb was saying earlier, just gives more personality to your outfit, and then also gives a hint to kind of what you're all about. So maybe you're a little bit artsy, or you're a little bit edgy, or whatever it is. And then pops of color, pattern, texture, shine, add some visual interest too. And that's all I have for you.
Dee,
Yes.
I was watching and really enjoyed the series Frankie and Gracie. So Jane Fonda always looked so polished in all of her outfits that she wore on that show. And she often flipped her collar, had the big gold necklace, or pushed her sleeves up.
Yeah.
Or high-waisted pants, with, because she's very thin, so she would have like, I don't want to say bell bottoms, but wide leg pants on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, and I love that she's kind of like our age too, right? So she's a great source of fashion inspiration, because lots of times women are like, oh, can I still wear this? Like, or what should I wear at this age anymore? And so finding stylish women that are around our age group can be really, really very useful. And I think too, like if you've always felt like, I have great legs, it's like, well, go on and wear the short skirt. It doesn't matter that you're 70. If you have great legs and you love your legs, go ahead and wear wear that skirt. If you're not crazy about your knees, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you're gonna you want to highlight your collarbones or whatever it is, or maybe a beautiful delicate wrists, whatever it is. So yeah, you can still wear it. You just might want to wear it in a different way.
And I was going to take this time, if that's okay, Dee, to open it up for Q&A if people.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of went on for a bit there.
No, this is great. That was awesome. Thank you. I made some great notes, and super interesting, because I never really thought to break it down to sort of the practical side and then the more flouncy side of things. So that was awesome. But I would love to open it up now if there's more questions for Dee. I know Barb brought up a good point, actually, because I was thinking the same. So during one of our Power and Aging workshops, one thing that came up when we were talking about stereotypes was about how women, middle age dress. And one person was like, oh yeah, well, it's very, it's inappropriate to wear short skirts at this, at 50 or whatever. And I was like again, like that goes back to your belief system. Who set that rule? Why is that? You know what I mean? Like if I had the legs, I'd be wearing a super short skirt. You know what I mean? Like it's sorry, Mom, but I would if I had the legs. next lifetime, that's what I've asked for. Some, but you know what I mean? Like, is there a lot of stereotyping around, like aging with your wardrobe? Would you say?
I think it's getting less and less. I feel like there's more and more women in the media that are over 50 that are seen as very fashionable, very stylish women. And even I think it's going with the gray hair movement too. There's just more and more women. I think it goes with the body acceptance movement that's happening and the aging positive movement that's happening. And I just feel like, we don't have to be invisible anymore. We don't have to wear these, from-below outfits. We can still be expressive. We can still be youthful. We can still be sexy. In our middle years and older. It's finding what you feel comfortable in too, right? Like I don't want to wear the same thing that I wore when I was 20.
No,
exactly. I just feel like I want to look a little more elegant, a little more expensive, a little more successful.
Yeah, I totally get that. And actually, it reminds me too. When I was pregnant, everyone's like, "Oh, you're so lucky. There's such a good pregnancy selection out there." Because when I was pregnant, we just had to wear like a big, draped outfit.
Dress,
but now they've got a lot more fashionable for not only pregnancy, but I guess all shapes and sizes, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, do you have any suggestions? Like, I find I don't have the time to really devote to going and really finding those, really select pieces that might really accentuate my wardrobe. My kids are just at a stage where I'm still too busy. And so I find myself, if I want something, new or refreshing for my wardrobe, I kind of pick, it doesn't look fantastic, but it'll do. And so that's kind of because I don't have the time to go and compare somewhere else, or, like, any suggestions on how to go about that? Because you end up, then I kind of end up with things that I'm like, I don't mind it, but I don't think it is, fantastic either.
You can hire a stylist.
Well, that's true.
I think, do you have time, like, to go on the internet and look at different things before you actually physically go into the store, or how about doing like some online shopping and having things sent to you, like, because so many places offer free shipping now and free returns, and that way that might be a time saving way for you to be able to compare a few different brands.
Right.
But I read tons and tons of customer reviews before I buy anything too, and find out, like, does this thing fit true to size, or and I find, like, if you know a certain brand, like, I find that if I were to shop at Banana Republic, I'm the same size in everything pretty much.
Right.
And so I find that helps to reduce the risk too. But yeah, maybe just online shopping before you step into the mall, that could be helpful.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Hi, Barb.
Oh, Dee, I was gonna just follow up with, I'm sorry, who's on the screen? Not Melanie. What's your?
Erin, who just spoke?
Oh, me? Oh.
Yeah, Erin, sorry.
That's
So what
okay.
Erin was saying, so say if we were going to invest in ourselves, what would be like 3 pieces that you would say, if I could just start with these 3 pieces, I could likely add or take away, like, what is in fashion right now that's age positive, like in the pants, say, like, are bell bottoms back, or what kind of pant do you buy, or what pieces? I'll narrow it back. If you were to do 3 pieces to a client, what would those 3 pieces be?
Okay. I'm a big fan of the blazer.
Okay.
I feel like you can throw a blazer on top of anything and you will look more polished and put together, and I think you feel more powerful when you're wearing a blazer too.
Right.
A well-fitting blazer. And I think a well-fitting pair of jeans. I think every woman should have those in their closet, and not so much a flare necessarily, but I do like the trouser cuts. I find that if you're a little bit, if you're hippier, then the trouser cut can fit really nicely and give, it accentuates your small waist, but then it flows nicely from the hip. So it's a little bit wider, but definitely more flattering. It doesn't have to be like a wide leg necessarily, but a trouser cut or a boot cut is good, or straight cut. All of those tend to be very flattering versus like a skinny jean, which can sometimes give us like the ice cream cone effect, right?
Right.
And then I feel like a good pair of boots. Like I'm a big fan of boots myself. So a comfortable pair that doesn't have to be a heel, but something that has a bit of a statement to it, like something a little bit chunkier. I find can be very versatile in your wardrobe.
So very fitted or not necessarily?
Fitted, what do you mean?
Like a boot that hugs your calf, or is it something that's
It can be, but a lot of women have trouble finding boots that hug their calves, or that because they're too snug at the calf, right?
Mhm.
But like even like a booty versus like a tall boot could be way more versatile.
Yeah, I agree. Mhm.
I can envision
Does that cut
being
your
out
height
there
again,
now. What's
Does
that?
that cut
Sorry?
does that cut the line? Does that cut your height down a bit again, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily.
Visual.
If you're wearing a dark pant with a dark boot, it'll just make your legs go on forever.
Do you get a lot of people who, let's say, you could be like, oh, this is my favorite pattern. You mentioned like a floral pattern, and you see it in a magazine, you absolutely love it. But then when you go to try it on yourself, it just doesn't look good or doesn't feel right on you. And you're like, it's kind of like, oh, it looks great on other people. But so do you get a lot of that? And why is that? Like, can we, is that just a mindset that we need to change to make ourselves feel better in it?
No, I don't think I wouldn't say that I get a lot of it, but it could be that maybe the floral print is good for you, but it would be better. Maybe like the top is too loosey-goosey, and something that was more structured with the floral print might be easier to wear. Or it could be that the color is off, or maybe that the size or the cut is off. So it's not necessarily the print itself. It could be too, I mean, some floral prints tend to be a little bit on the granny-ish kind of side, and some of them tend to be more modern, right? It could be that it's just too much flower, or, maybe if it was just, there was more space in between the flowers, it might look more in proportion to you. So there's a bunch of things that could be going on.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, totally. Thank you. Any other questions for Dee?
Yeah, I just have one. So sorry. Say with all the tips that you've given, and you go to a mall, and you go walk into a store and it gets really overwhelming while you're there, while you're trying to search them. Can you give any tips to maybe make it more easygoing while you're there?
While you're shopping?
Yeah, so like you walk into a store, you have these amazing tips, and all of a sudden it becomes super overwhelming. You just see a big store with all these clothes. Is there anything that you can, or any tips you could give to make it less overwhelming?
I find if you have a sense of what colors look best on you, that can kind of help immediately, because you can go into a store like right now, like I went shopping for a client yesterday who her colors are a little bit more like they're cooler, so she looks good in winter colors, like really bright blue, or like sapphire, or really rich ruby colors, that sort of thing. She looks. But I went into the stores and there's a lot of earth tones right now and a lot of black, and she doesn't look good in any of those things. So I was able to go into a number of stores and be like, nope. And then I was out of there because they didn't have what I was looking for. So if you kind of have a sense of what colors look best on you, that can really help. I think if you have a sense of what vibe you're going for too, that can help a lot. So let's say you really liked florals, or you really like that feminine girly aesthetic, then you're going to do a lot better at Ted Baker or Kate Spade than you are at, say, like RW Company or American Eagle. You know what I mean? So knowing kind of like what the vibe is that you're going for, you can immediately kind of edit which stores you're going to go to in the mall. Price point obviously is going to help too. So maybe, if you have a winter's budget, maybe don't go to Nordstrom. And then, I think, like, so the vibe and aesthetic is will help you kind of figure out which stores that you are worth going into. Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does. Thank you so much.
You bet.
And Lori, I see that you've written something in the chat. It just says, find a store that suits your style, and often staff will be very helpful in picking pieces that will work for your body shape. Also, City Line on Fridays features Fashion Friday, and stylists showcase a variety of styles for a variety of body types. So that's good to know. And as Dee said as well, hiring a stylist, I mean, sometimes just, it's like hiring a coach, right? Something you need help with, it's nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing to give you that little bit of confidence to, go out and get the right pieces for yourself, so you're not constantly like looking at it in the closet and saying, why did I buy that? I do that. Like,
well, and sometimes I find like I what I do is give people permission to wear what they want to wear too. And I find that sometimes we're trying to create a look for our future selves, which I think we should do. Like, so the look that we want to have, and we'll find all those pieces for somebody, and they'll be almost like afraid to try them on because they somehow they feel like it's not them, even though it's exactly the look that they're going for and it's the image that they want. So convince them to try them on, and they sort of like, I would never have picked this out, but it's amazing. But it takes them sometimes a few minutes when they see themselves in the mirror, and it's like they don't recognize themselves, and they're afraid that they can't pull it off. And it's like, yeah, you totally can. And because you are this confident, amazing, competent, intelligent, funny, flirty, whatever it is, you are that person. And so you just need to express that to the world, and you should do that. And so sometimes there's a disconnect, but then they get there.
I can just quickly comment on that. It's almost like having formerly been an actor, like putting on a costume and kind of stepping up into that role. So, you know what I mean? If you want to walk in with like all the confidence and stuff, even if you don't feel it, sometimes when you dress the part, right, it's like you're putting this costume on, this uniform or whatever, and then you just kind of become it. I don't know. You know what I mean? You step into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's how the other people are perceiving you because you're wearing it versus how you think you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they see you as whatever you're presenting versus, oh, you're not feeling that until you realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So any more questions at all for Dee? Barb, did you have one before yet?
Oh, yes, I'm on. Likely if Dee would come back another time, I would love to know how to accessorize.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
You know what I mean? I see that Winners commercial, and she's got this little scarf tied around her neck, or what bracelets, or I just find you think you love it until you get it home and you look at your wardrobe and you go, why did I buy this? It looked good on the model, but I think because I feel more glamorous when I accessorize well, because I'm a basic black.
For sure. But
Anyways,
but
that's just an
jewelry is like
idea.
anything else, though, right? But jewelry is like anything else, where you want to be able to style it 3 different ways,
Right.
right? So, or else you don't purchase it. Yeah.
Right.
That's a great point. Accessorizing, because I know for myself, if my weight is fluctuating and I feel like I want to buy something new or have a pick me up, I go for like a handbag, right? Or a necklace or boots or something where it's going to fit regardless, So it's a great way to accessorize. And do retail therapy too, right? Like I remember when I broke up with an ex-boyfriend, I was like, do I go to see a therapist for $70 or go buy some boots? And yeah, the boots looked great at the time. I still have the boots, so it was worth it.
That's why I buy shoes.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, they will always fit.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, and that's a great way to like change your outfit, right? Your boots, your handbag, and your jewelry, right? And yeah. Awesome.
Well, and I think when you're wearing stuff like that looks like really shoes that look expensive. They don't have to be expensive, but shoes that look expensive, or jewelry that looks expensive, or a handbag, like you were saying, can really elevate your entire look too. you still have jeans and a t-shirt on, but you're wearing like a fancy necklace, or you have these like awesome boots on or awesome shoes or whatever. Just it elevates the entire look.
These are my fun, sort of neutral, but you know, a little bit of a zing to them shoes, but they are a wedge, but they're flies. And I do love fly wedges because they're so comfy. But yeah, I find the gold sparkle is still dressy, but neutral enough, you know, for elongating or whatever.
I love a metallic.
We all need a little sparkle, right?
I think too, as stylists, sometimes they will see things that you don't see yourself, because so that's what I mean when you're going into a store and they'll go, oh, this would look great on you, and you go, yeah, I don't know about that, but they see a different perspective than what you do, because you're not feeling it, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like a neutral opinion, right? And you might be really self-conscious about something, but when that stylist says, oh my God, that looks fantastic on you, like, you know, and I've seen it on other people, this is definitely something, you know what I mean? It makes you feel good because it's another set of eyes on you.
I mean, that's gonna be sorry, I would just want to, piggyback on what Lori was saying. I do feel though that not all store people are neutral. They definitely want you to buy something, right? So I think it's good to be armed with knowledge too, about, you know, what looks good on you and what's going to fit into your wardrobe and what feels like you and that sort of thing, because they want to sell you things, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I meant, like, so there's one store that I've gone to, so they have like a sort of a set clientele, and I find that I can walk in and they go, oh, we just got this new line in this year, I think you might like it, and they'll point you in that direction. But I am also mindful, so I don't allow them to go to change room for me, and I don't allow them to take the stuff off my arm. So as I'm picking items up, I hold on to them, because before you know it, you can be loaded up with a whole bunch of stuff, right? Because they've kind of swept it away and they've tucked it into a change room, or they're taking it to the counter, and you get up there and it's like, holy crap, I didn't intend to buy 6 items, right? So I'm very mindful of that as well. They can be quite persuasive.
Yeah,
for sure. And I just being mindful, I saw Dee message me that your computer might be dying soon, right? I don't want to.
Oh, so hubby plugged me in, so it's all good.
Okay, you're plugged in. Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
So Melanie was going to say something, I think.
I just was asking about the cost. I've never even looked into a stylist, or, you know, that sounds a little high end for what I've ever thought about it. So I was just wondering what the cost is for something like that.
And actually, Dee is offering our, as a gift to all of our Power in Aging members and community, she is offering an 11%. I said it couldn't be 10, it had to be 11 because that's the number, percent discount off of her services. So Dee, did you want to describe what that would look like, what the sessions are?
Yeah, so because I'm in Vancouver and you guys are not, we'll do everything virtually. So I would send you some homework in advance, so we could kind of have a better idea of, you know, the kind of styles that you like versus the kind of styles that you would never be caught dead in. So that's good for you to know, and that's also good for me to know. And then I would try to figure out what your best colors are, so that you have a color palette to work within, which will makes getting dressed and shopping a whole lot easier. We'll look at your style goals, we'll look at the kind of image that you want, but also, you know, the basics, like, you know, what is your body shape and what are your figure flattering priorities? And then we'll dive into your closet and then figure out what pieces you have are working for you based on the other criteria that we already determined, and which pieces we should release. And maybe there's things that are just like a little bit tired, or maybe there's things that, you know, were something that you wore like 20 years ago, but you're not that person anymore, or, you know, and then identify the key pieces that you should have in your wardrobe that'll make everything kind of work together. So we'll do that all virtually. It'd probably take about a couple of hours. Can't hear you, Chris.
Sorry about that. So yeah, so Dee has outlined the description of her services. It will be in a follow-up email that I will be sending everybody probably tomorrow. I'm not sure. Helena does that part. She either fires it off tonight or tomorrow morning. Just basically thank you for coming, letting you know how to reach and get in touch with Dee and follow her on social media. And then with the wonderful offer that she's offering us as well, it will have a detail of what that those appointments would look like and the cost and everything. So it will be in there for you. And now it's so easy to do almost everything virtually, isn't it? I mean, it's it's nice to do things in person as well. And flying to Vancouver for a little shopping trip would not be a bad thing. I would do that, but it's everything can be done virtually now as well. So yeah.
I mean, I love helping people use what they already have too. Like that's the ultimate, like, sustainable wardrobe is to be able to wear what you already have instead of like having to go and buy more things, right? And maybe showing you ways, like different combinations that you hadn't considered before. That's a pretty fun thing for me to do. And I think it's very satisfying when people realize that they actually have a number of good pieces in their wardrobe and they just weren't wearing them to the potential.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it helps to save money too if we can reuse what we already have.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And as far as color, I mean, it's not necessarily what we like is that looks good on us. How do we
yeah, not necessarily.
I know I'm not a winter, but how do you figure out what you are that looks good on you versus what you like to see?
Yeah, it's too bad it's not one and the same always. Sometimes it is, but I was not a fan of olive green until I realized that it actually looks pretty good on me. So now I have a bit of olive, bit of camo in my wardrobe too, Barb. And so what I do with that is would get you to send me a photo of yourself in sort of natural lighting with no makeup on. And then I have some digital palettes that I like, digital drapes that I use to kind of determine what the best colors are for you, depending on your hair color, skin tone, your eye color, which so we want everything to look kind of in harmony with your natural colors. So we do digitally. Yeah.
Awesome. I think we could all use a little of that right now. It'd be a nice pick-me-up, that's for sure. Yeah. So any other questions before we wrap up? No? This has been so awesome. It's funny, Jen and I were messaging each other going, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And it's been a really refreshing change for what we've been doing every month, and but also perfectly in theme with power and aging and how we perceive ourselves, all about self-image and how we want to be perceived. So we really thank you very much for coming. It was absolutely amazing. And just a reminder for everybody else that you will receive an email from us following up again with all of Dee's information. A reminder as well that it should be on there, but if you did enjoy this, we really appreciate word of mouth reviews as well on Google, on Facebook, anywhere. If you can help give us a review for Power and Aging, get some more people into our community, we appreciate that. And most of all, if you would like to become a member of our community for $11.11 a month and be welcomed into our group coaching program, which is what we are all about. So we try to stick with a theme for the first part of the coaching program, and then we open it up as well because there's always stuff that's coming up for everybody and whatever fits with what you need. So again, that is this Saturday at 11:11 is our new time. We were doing the workshop, which is finished now for this year, and leading and following that, we were doing the coaching session at 1:11. It's now 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. So sorry for people who are a little further away. It's a little earlier on the Saturday morning, but get your day started. So you'll see the details for that in the email as well. And of course, if you have any questions, you guys all know me, just fire me a message. I'm happy to chat with you or however you want to do it. Yeah, so, oh, there's a couple little things in the message. Thank you, Dee. Love this and excited to put in use all the takeaways. Perfect. Thank you. Lots of things to consider. Thank you, Dee, for your presentation and suggestions. So, yeah. So once again, thanks everybody, and I hope you have a fantastic night. I hope to see some of you on Saturday. Bye. Bye, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, Mom. Bye, Lauren.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Pleasure.
Bye.